In today's video, I'll be giving a few do's and don'ts on how to write an effective academic essay. So let's start with a really important principle in essay writing: clarity. It's commonly thought that academic essays need to be written in the most complex style possible, involving lots of long words. This is not the case. What your marker will be looking for more than anything else is that you can explain your ideas clearly. If you're happy to use long words, then feel free to do so, but what you really want is for the marker to be able to follow the progress of your ideas clearly, without confusion, and without having to reread anything that you've said. Linked to clarity, you also need to consider your audience. It's tempting here to think that because your lecturer is an expert in this field, that you don't need to provide background material or many details when explaining, for instance, the examples you're using or the background to the events under discussion. Again, try not to do this. It's the mark of a good essay that someone with good general knowledge but little expertise can pick it up and understand what you're saying and why. One way to approach this is to think of someone, perhaps a family member or friend, and imagine that you're explaining your argument to them. Someone who's well informed but not an expert. Think about the information they would need so as to understand the argument you are making. Another common mistake is to overuse quotations from other historians, or to use quotations poorly. It's tempting, for example, if you read something in perhaps a book or an article that sounds relevant to your question, simply to quote that text and use it to make the argument for you. Let's say you're writing an essay about a specific site of memory, perhaps a statue designed to commemorate a technological breakthrough, and you've been tasked with explaining how this site of memory reflects a city's collective identity. Then, while you're researching the essay, you find a quote that seems to give a straightforward answer to the question, such as, "For some, this statue provided a crucial outlet for the community's sense of collective achievement, and yet the decision to locate it in the city's northern district made it difficult for a sizable part of the community to feel any real sense of ownership." And that's the end of the quote. Now let's say you simply include this quote in your essay and let it speak for itself. There are two dangers here. The first is that the more you rely on quotations to make your argument for you, the less your marker can award marks for your ability to make your own argument. The other danger is that including a quote in this way makes a statement, but this statement is not fully explained, nor is any proof supplied to support your argument. For example, we're not told why the location of the statue in the city's northern district caused issues, nor are we supplied with any evidence to show that this was the case. So it's important that whenever you make an argument, which most usually you'll do in your own words, but even if you do it via a quotation, you always have to explain the logic underpinning that statement and supply proof. The point then is that quotations by historians are not proof in their own right. Quoted or not, you still have to justify your main arguments. Another challenge is to write the whole essay coherently, so that your reader can follow the argument's development from introduction to conclusion. A difficulty people often encounter when writing is that they might perhaps write 4 to 6 lines of one paragraph, but then find that they need to perhaps check a reference, locate a piece of evidence, or go out to the library to check a point of detail. The danger here is that by breaking the flow of your writing, particularly if you do it several times, when you come back to continue writing your essay, the paragraphs you then write won't quite fit with what you've already said, and your essay will become disjointed. You might end up repeating yourself, or your paragraphs may not progress clearly from one to another. One way round this, and assuming that you're fully aware of the overall argument you want to make, is that when you're writing an essay, rather than stopping, leaving your desk so as to find a missing piece of information, you can simply put in a symbol, perhaps an internet @ symbol, followed by a brief description in caps of what you're missing. You can then continue writing without breaking your concentration, and this hopefully will help you to write an essay that flows coherently from start to finish. Once you reach the end, you can then press Ctrl F and search for the symbol, and this will take you straight to all the gaps that you need to fill. I hope you found this advice useful. For further advice, please see the other videos in this collection.